Hey everybody, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and the most heartfelt salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, AMC's Christian Harloff.
Oh yeah, it's Jedi Council Day. I'm excited.
And also here, AMC's Maude Garrett.
You can call me Mard anytime.
Mard.
Hey, listen, as Christian was just pointing out, actually, we're in our new facility and we're rolling out with Phase 3. We had a great launch with Phase 3 with AMC Heroes, which if you have not seen that yet, hosted by John Schnepp, you should go check it out. It's on the channel. Just look for AMC Heroes. It's right there. And today we shoot the first episode of AMC Jedi Council, which will be online a little bit later tonight. We're so excited about that. But as happens sometimes, this happens to us a lot. We have all these stories here. We prepared all these stories, but something dropped like literally about 15 minutes ago that we didn't prepare graphics or anything for. Star Wars news just dropped. Bob Iger came out, just made a big announcement on behalf of Disney. Christian, what is happening?
All right, so here's what officially from StarWars.com is that Rogue One is the title for the first film in a unique series of big screen adventures that explores the characters and events beyond the core Star Wars saga. It's going to be directed by Gareth Edwards and written by Chris Weitz, which we knew. We knew that those guys were part of the team, but we didn't know that it was called Rogue One.
We've got a name.
Yes, and Bob Iger also confirmed Rian Johnson for writing and directing Episode 8. But as far as Rogue One goes, this is interesting because they made it a point to focus on the fact that it's exploring characters just beyond the Star Wars core. So I think we'll see people that pop that we recognize, whether it be a Boba Fett or even maybe a Han Solo. And by the way, they also announced that Felicity Jones is finally confirmed in the role. No one else but Felicity Jones. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we'll tie in characters from maybe Rebels? Does it mean that we're going to see brand new characters that will maybe introduce that could pop up into Episode 8? It's very interesting, and I love the idea that maybe we're going to see how the Rogue Squadron began, because it's Rogue One. So maybe it's the beginning of the Rogue Squadron.
And to be clear, so people are not confused, this is the first spin-off film. This is going to be the first spin-off film. It's called Rogue One. And I am shocked.
What?
I'm shocked. And I'm very, very surprised because, look, we don't know what this means. Iger did not sit down with a pipe in his hands and said, listen, America, here's what's going to happen in the new Star Wars spinoff. He didn't do that. And I met Bob Iger. That's exactly how he sounds right now. I just did an awesome Bob Iger. Anyway, he didn't lay out what it's about. So we're just left here to speculate. And here's why I'm shocked. Everything we have been hearing up until this point was that the first Star Wars spinoff movie was going to be about a group of bounty hunters going and stealing the plans to the original Death Star that then, is the cataclysm for what sets off the events of the original Star Wars film, right? That's everything we've been hearing. Now, the title Rogue One does not necessarily throw all that out the window. That could still be the case. But if you're a Star Wars fan, when you hear the word rogue followed by any number, you're immediately thinking of Rogue Squadron. I mean, so is this now going to be a movie about, doesn't necessarily have to be Wedge Antilles or anything like that, but is it going to be a movie about that fighter pilot group? Is this has nothing to do with the stealing of the Death Star plans because I was starting to get on board with that notion. I'll be honest with you.
I still think it is. I still think we are seeing that, and the Rogue Squadron team are teaming up with the bounty hunters because they are a group of mercenaries and they do take the highest dollar. So they're working together to get the Death Star plans. I'm excited.
So you think it's the best of both worlds?
I think you're combining that, and this is the one mission, so we can still see it happening. I'm not canceling it out at all. In fact, this Rogue is standing by.
I agree with I agree with you 100%. By the way, I think that would make sense, especially if you're not watching Rebels. There's a character in there by the name of Sabine who comes from the Mandalorian race.
Right.
It would be an interesting way to tie it in if the bounty hunters from the Mandalorians were involved in this somehow. If she became a bounty hunter herself and teamed up, and you had these bunch of rogues teaming with Rogue One, would be very interesting. So I don't think that we should count that.
So it's not necessarily. You don't think it's necessarily one or the other. No. It could be a best of both worlds.
I think so.
I think that sounds great. But like I said, just the introduction of Rogue into there is just kind of threw me me for a bit of a loop. Exciting times, though. Exciting times. I hope we actually get real news on it soon and some descriptions.
Yeah, and we'll be
Although it's
talking
still far
about
away.
this a lot more in depth on Jedi Council today. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what's going on, maybe we'll get some more information. Maybe we won't by the time we tape, but check out Jedi Council today.
All right, what is our first actual story today?
As many of you know, Toy Story 4 is on the way and currently scheduled to hit AMC theaters on June 16, 2017. Disney Animation and Pixar Chief Creative Officer John Lasseter is set to return to direct the new installment, but this time he's going to have some help. According to reports, Lasseter has just named Josh Cooley as the co-director for Toy Story 4. Cooley has been with Pixar for years, starting as an intern on Cars, and most recently he served as head of story for the upcoming Pixar film Inside Out. John, what do you think of the addition of Josh Cooley as co-director for Toy Story 4?
I love this news on so many levels. It emphasizes to me why Pixar is not only the best animation studio in the world, they are the best movie producing studio in the world, period. And here's why. They develop their own talent in-house. They put them, they look at their company like a farm system almost, and if you want to use sports analogies, right? They bring their own talent up, and when guys show talent, they give them opportunities. So I love that they're doing that with this guy. Plus, he's got a book out, this cool guy, he's got a book, and I can't remember the title of the book now, it's eluding me, but he's got this book where it's famous scenes from movies, like even some horror movies or whatever, right? In one frame, and it's like there's this one from Aliens where the alien is bursting out of the guy's chest. Ripley, and it's like a children's book. It says, Ripley says, "What's wrong?" And then the man on table says, and it's a whole book of that he did for children. It looks amazing. But here's the other reason I really like this. John Lasseter, he really wanted to do Toy Story 4, and he probably wanted to do it on his own at first. But the guy is the chief creative officer of Disney. He's the chief creative officer of Pixar. He's got a lot on his plate. So the fact that he's wise enough to go, you know what, I could probably use some help, that's great. But the other reason is, not a big fan of Cars. Not a huge fan of Cars. I like Cars, don't get me wrong, I do. I like Cars, but probably the weakest of the Pixar films. And so, and I think that has partly to do because Lasseter has so much divided attention. All the way around, I think this is great news. I'm excited about it. Maude, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely excited. They're doing, and excuse the Star Wars references that I'm going to be doing, but there's definitely a Master Padawan effect happening within here.
Yeah.
And they've done it before with Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck. Now, Chris Buck was doing Pocahontas and The Little Mermaid, so he's old school Disney. And then you've got Jennifer, who wrote the screenplay for Wreck-It Ralph, a very modern theme, a very modern look. Combine their powers, they made Frozen, which is one of the most successful movies like to date with the franchise. So you're teaming up two different people with different skills, and it works. We're seeing it again. I have absolute faith. I want to see Toy Story 4, and I'm going to cry again. And that's okay.
Christian?
Listen, I'm one of the, I won't say one of the few, but when some people were skeptical when Toy Story 4 was first announced, like, oh, why do they need to do it? I wasn't one of those people. I was excited for it, and even more so as the news kept coming out about what it's going to be, like a different story. And now the addition to the fact that Cooley's going to be working with Lasseter. If you want someone working with anyone, you want them working with Lasseter. That guy, he's the grandfather of it all. He's the first Toy Story and all. He's the best. And also the fact that he has this confidence in Cooley should be encouraging to everyone. The fact that he wants him on there. And if he's endorsing him and saying, this is the guy, then guess what? He's the guy. So I'm all on board. I'm on.
All right, what's next?
While speaking on a panel this past weekend, director Christopher Nolan continued to make his case for the preservation of physical film as a shooting medium in Hollywood today. Nolan said the following: "We need film projectors and film prints forever. If you want the choice, it's very important to support film now. Filmmakers are going out of their way to shoot film and talk about it. We want to see a world where there's a choice. It's important to preserve it for future generations." Nolan's comments come as Kodak, the industry's exclusive provider for film stock, has seen its film scales drop by over 96% in the past decade. Christian, do you agree with Nolan's argument for the preservation of physical film as a working medium?
I do agree with him very much, but I also understand why the drop. It's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. And it's also, as generations grow up, they don't need it as much. And there's certain times when you can look at digital and you don't, and to the eye that's growing up with it now, they don't see much of a difference. But to the classic filmmaker and to film purists, film is a medium that should be kept. It absolutely is. And I'm glad that, I don't want this to be an episode of Jedi Council right now, but the fact that J.J. Abrams shooting on film, I like that. I'm excited to see what that looks like on film. I like the idea that we can still keep it because I think it's something that generations should grow up with. But I also understand why it's hard to hold on to because it is very expensive to keep.
Yeah, I'm going to go completely in the opposite direction. I think this is sentimentality. I really do. I think this is pure sentimentality. And when guys like Nolan, who I have immense respect for, when guys like Scorsese, who you're a fool if you don't have immense respect for, when they say stuff like, the art of working with film, I'm sorry, you don't get to say that with me unless you're using a Moviola to edit your film. You remember the big old huge machines that you run there and that's how we edit our film? No, you don't. You know what these guys do? They take the film and the first thing they do, they digitize it and bring it into the computer. And that's where they edit it. And then they take it from the computer and then put it back on film. So it's like the art of working with film is kind of removed anyway. When I hear things though, guys say things like, it's just the film just got this feel, whatever. To me, that reminds me of a guy saying, you know what? Those first Motorola Razr flip phones, they're better because you just feel in your head, they're better than the brand new iPhone 6. No, they're not. There's no way you can describe it in that it's better than the iPhone 6. James Cameron put it best one time. He said, I had some friends who would insist to me that film looks better. You can't have digital look like film. He goes, I showed them a screening of a film, say, well, this one's on film. What do you think? And my friend said to me, see, it looked amazing. That's how film should look. That's blah, blah. I gotcha. That was actually digital. And that's the reality of it. Everybody says, I can tell when it's film. No, you can't. With digital technology today, they can make you believe that there's a physical human being standing right here talking to me. They can mimic the original look of film, even if that's good. And I'm not so totally convinced that it is. But here's the thing too. The idea of hold on to film because you got to give people the choice. Really? Should we hold on to the 8-track? So everybody has the choice. Hey, if I want the new Eminem album on 8-track, I should have that choice. At some point, you just got to move on. And
really quickly, yes, I have to disagree with you. I think it
most
should
people
maintain.
do.
Yeah, because it is outstanding that in the last 10 years, Kodak's whole sales have dropped 96%. Like they are almost officially redundant. And I think that when you do have people like Nolan and JJ standing up to the plate going, I want to hold on to this, it is my choice. And I do think it comes down to having that particular choice. And when you remove that choice, then you are funneling down one path. And maybe it's a path that you just can't follow. Anyway, sorry about this. I'm just in the mood for Jedi. But what I will say as well, and I think Alicia mentioned it very eloquently on AMCI, she says that archiving, when you have a physical reel and when you have film, it is better archived. And with hacking scandals coming in left, right, and center, you can wipe the database and you can remove movies if it's just on a file. So I think that that's, for archiving's sake and looking back, that could be why film should stay.
I would make the argument it's much more difficult to maintain. You got to put them in these salt mines and things like that. But I will say this was an odd comment was made at the same panel by the CEO of Kodak, who said, we at Kodak, we are committed to this. We're going to lose money, continue to lose money, but we're committed to this and we're going to do it anyway. I wonder why that company's gone bankrupt. Just saying.
They brought out a Polaroid and they're like,
all right, what's next?
It's buy or sell.
Oh, look at that, folks. It's time for the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Director Joe Carnahan has just signed on to direct the DreamWorks studio project Motorcade. The project has been on and off development for some time, with Tom Cruise being attached to star several years ago. According to reports, the story focuses on an attack made on the president's motorcade as it travels through the streets of Los Angeles, and a disgraced Secret Service agent comes to the rescue. Carnahan is also rewriting the existing script, so story elements may change. Marred by the sounds of Motorcade with Joe Carnahan directing.
I may lose friends saying this, but I'm going to sell it for a couple of reasons. I think that there are themes and ebbs and flows with what works and what doesn't in cinema. And I think that the whole age of the presidential attack may be done for now. We saw Olympus Has Fallen, we saw White House Down. They weren't successes remotely. And then when you think of Tom Cruise, he was on his game. And then when you had an amazing movie like Live, Die, Repeat, or is it Edge of Tomorrow? I'm not sure. It didn't do as well as it should have. Yes, that's marketing's fault, but it still should have just blown everyone's faces off because it was a really great film. So I maybe think that not only is the theme a little bit done, I think Tom Cruise is a little bit done. In saying that though, we are in the age of Ultron, of superhero movies. Maybe this is a refreshing take that if people don't feel that same way about movies of superheroes, and they could find solace in a movie like this. But I'm personally going to sell it.
Yeah, I'm going to mildly buy it. I mean, Tom Cruise is no longer attached to the film. I mean, it went from Tom Cruise, and I believe Ryan Reynolds was the next one who signed on, and I don't even know if Ryan Reynolds is still signed on or not. The reason I'm not enthusiastically buying it is because we have not only seen the Attack on the President's movies, we've seen the Attack on the President being saved by a formerly disgraced Secret Service member movies. Clint Eastwood did it. We just saw Gerard Butler do it. I mean, this movie's been done. Now, that being said, Joe Carnahan is also coming on and rewriting the script, and maybe they're going to make significant changes. Maybe they won't. But the one down thing for me about this is that we just talked about this on AMC Heroes, is that Carnahan has been attached. He wrote a script to Mark Millar's Nemesis, which is a movie that Millar lost his mind over when he read Carnahan's script. And that, after reading all of Nemesis, I'm telling you, that's the movie I want Joe Carnahan directing. I want that movie made, not this one. But there's enough here that intrigues me. He directed The Grey, which he did great. He directed Narc, which he did such a great job on. So I'm going to give it a pass right now. I'm going to give it a buy.
It's a huge buy for me. I love Joe Carnahan, and I loved The Grey. I thought Grey landed in January. So January is the toilet bowl of movie season. So when you get a gem like that, because it to me was a dark, gritty movie, what he does well, Narc, another one. This seems like this could happen because you're going to see the development of a character in this disgraced Secret Service. What Clint Eastwood did in the Line of Fire was they really developed why he was disgraced. As long as you're going to have two different versions, like you guys mentioned the Gerard Butler movie, which I had fun with. But it was a popcorn.
So did I, yeah.
And it was a popcorn shoving in your face, just kind of whatever the story is. It doesn't matter. It's just a lot of violence and let's have fun with it. I feel there's going to be more substance to Carnahan's version of this because that's what Carnahan does. And I would like them to have a story. I would have liked to seen Tom Cruise in this movie because to me, I don't think he's done. I think that Edge of Tomorrow proved that he wasn't. And I think to me, him in a movie like this would be similar to what he did when he was in Michael Mann's Collateral.
Right.
When he was in, that's what I would like to see. But so they get somebody who can play a darker role, maybe somebody who is used to playing good guys like Tom Hanks or something. Now that's overshooting maybe right now, but I'll wait for the casting before I sell it.
I still want to see Tom Cruise do a standalone Len Grossman movie. I've been waiting for that. All right, what's next?
The new Disney film Cinderella opens in AMC theaters tonight, and with it, the brand new Frozen short film Frozen Fever, which plays in front of it. A new poster for the short has been released, giving us our first look at the new little creatures called Snowgies. In Frozen Fever, it's Anna's birthday, and Elsa and Kristoff are determined to give her the best celebration ever, but Elsa's icy powers may put more than just the party at risk. John Byer saw the looks of Frozen Fever.
I'm a little bit, unfortunately, Christian, you might have too. We've both seen Frozen Fever. And look, I'm going to buy it because it's cute. I enjoyed Frozen. I did. I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest animated film of all time, but I really had a good time with it. I didn't love this short film personally, but man, I'm telling you, when the Snowgies showed up, I instantly thought they are going to make $7 trillion on toy sales of Snowgies because they are so damn cute. And actually, Dennis, let's bring up that image again. Let's bring up that poster again on screen here because look at one of the other things they did. This short film is all about selling toys because you know how you go to Disneyland and you see all the little girls dressed in their Elsa costumes? Halfway through the short, Elsa changes dresses. She puts on a new green dress. So now all those parents can go out and buy a whole ton of new dresses because now it's green. But listen, Frozen wasn't just a hit. Frozen is the number 5. Think about that. Out of all the films in history, Frozen is the number 5 worldwide box office film of all time. So for them to throw this in front of Cinderella, brilliant marketing because that's going to bring in a lot more families too because a lot of little girls who may not have instantly said, let's go see Cinderella, see a new Frozen thing, they're going to go there. Brilliant idea. So overall, as a package, I guess say buy.
It is a buy for me as well. And look, this is also not only for toys, which I agree with you, and I'm going to have to buy my daughter that dress and the toys. This is also say, hey guys, don't forget about this because we're coming back. Frozen 2 will be back. And it gets because people are I said something silly to my daughter today. I was like, I just let it go. And I wasn't even thinking about it. Oh. She burst into song and started singing Let It Go in the kitchen. And it's still present in our minds. So by putting this out there as well in front of Cinderella, brilliant move for sure. Yeah. I'd absolutely buy the short because I think that you're going to see the Snowgies in the next movie too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And I thought it was cute.
Is there a song in the short?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm buying this just on behalf of all the mothers and fathers that just want to hear a new song. That's all they want. Or see a new dress.
It's not going to replace Let It Go.
No.
No, the
right.
song in this is not going to replace it. All right, is that it for buy? It is that. That's it. No, it's not.
No,
We got
more.
one more.
Buy and sell.
Yesterday, Legendary Pictures revealed the principal cast for their upcoming feature film, The Great Wall. The film is set to be the largest film ever shot entirely in China for global distribution. Much of the film will be comprised of Chinese actors, with Matt Damon, Game of Thrones actor Pedro Pascal, and Willem Dafoe leading the cast. The Great Wall is the story of an elite force making a last stand for humanity as the world's most iconic structure. Christian, buy or sell the sounds of The Great Wall?
Oh man, I buy this. I really buy this because it reminds me a bit of Braveheart. Because what Braveheart did was Mel Gibson was like the mega star, and then he put himself around a bunch of unknown European actors. Like no one knew who Brendan Gleeson was back then. Like,
Right.
And the fact that I don't know too many movies about the Great Wall that I haven't met any walls lately. I just haven't.
I can't name many walls.
Yeah, but any movies about the Great Wall, I don't know many of them. And if there were, they're not ones you can just pull off reference. This could be one of those. And to see Matt Damon with Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones.
I know, with his face intact.
With his, spoilers. And that's a dude that I'm so glad got the recognition because he's only in like 6 episodes of Game of Thrones, but he made an impact.
Great.
And to have him and Willem Dafoe together, this is going to be something special. I'm really looking forward to it, and I like the addition that they're. You know what I can't stand sometimes is when they make a movie in China and then they put European actors over there. And there's like one Chinese guy, and it's like you're that to me that's doing it right. That's giving more job opportunities to people who would actually be in this time period. So a big buy for me.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it as well. I mean, forget everything else. Forget that it's going to be the biggest Chinese produced film to then get exported for global distribution. Forget all that. It's just a cool sounding premise. On the wall, Matt Damon, you got the Viper in there doing his thing, Willem Dafoe. I think this sounds great. So I'm actually quite excited. The only other famous wall I can think of is the Green Monster. I can't think of any other famous walls. Anyway, what do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's bringing the world together, and it's showing us that we are kind of more unified in a way. Because you're right. Usually if there's like a movie set in China, it has very heavy themes like that. They try to do it with, 47 Ronin. And I think that just didn't really work because they were trying to force 2 different cultures together in a way that was just like, but I think this is going to be fantastic. It's a big buy from me.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we take a few of your questions every single day. Maybe you'll see your email question on AMC Movie Talk. Maybe you'll see it on our weekend Mailbag show. But let's see what's in there today. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Raymond Long writes, love the show. I was curious if you all believe if the Sony/Marvel deal is a success, could that pave the way for Sony to license other Marvel characters with a profit split between the companies, like a She-Hulk or Moon Knight movie made by Sony? That way more Marvel properties could get to the big screen faster, and Sony would have access to other characters for solo movies or put into a Spider-Man movie. Keep up the great work on Phase 3.
What you will never, ever, 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 ever see again is Marvel giving away one of their characters.
Yeah.
They have lived with the smell of regret and shame for the past many number of years and banging their heads against the wall. Why did we give away the X-Men? Why did we give away Spider-Man? And just really this whole thing about how can we position ourselves to get them back? I mean, they needed to at the time. I'm not saying they should have. They had to at the time. But I don't think Marvel ever wants to be in that position again. Now, that's not to say that, different types of agreements can be made moving forward. But what I don't think we're ever going to see is a wholesale, here, we are giving you the license to this character, buy. Because who knows if, I don't know, what's a character they have right now, like Hawkeye. Okay, maybe we don't have big plans for Hawkeye right now, but who knows, 5 years from now, Hawkeye could become an insanely popular character and then Marvel's hitting their heads against the wall again. So, look, we know in this deal that we could see Marvel characters popping up in Spider-Man. I mean, that's going to happen because that's a part of their deal. But the whole, warehouse deal of we are giving you the license to this character that we're not happen to be using right now, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. Do you see it any differently?
No, I think that you're absolutely right. That what you're going to see is if, for example, like She-Hulk or something, would be interesting if you saw her pop up in a Spider-Man film or something along the lines to where you tie it first together. Let's say Spider-Man has more of an impact in leading up to the next, not this Avengers, but the next Avengers movie.
Right.
through those movies leading up, he meets characters in the MCU, and then they say, well, that really worked with the audience. Let's put him and She-Hulk in a movie together.
That's actually great. She-Hulk's a great example.
But you know what I mean? Just like the fact that they're working now together, you could see that because of this existing deal. But yet, no, they're not going to say, yeah, Black Widow, we're kind of done with her. You guys can have her. That's not going to happen. The reason they sold the company sold those things in the first place was, like you said, they needed to. They were desperate at the time, and it worked out in the long run, though.
Yeah, Maud?
This kind of arrangement, Sony's the only company that really benefits. Marvel doesn't get anything out of it, I don't think, really. It's almost just like hey, you're in a bit of a hole right now. Let's lift you out of it. Sony's had the opportunity to use other characters, I feel, and they haven't really done it. They just had that one trick with Spider-Man. They even had the rights, and the direction that Spider-Man's going is that in the comics, it's Gwen Stacy who's Spider-Woman. And so it's like this whole new world where there is no Spider-Man. She carries the flag and she's the main character. Would Sony ever use a female-led movie? And like with the example of She-Hulk, I don't think Sony would touch that because it's too much of a risk. There it is. Hello. So yeah, will we see more of this? I don't think so. I think Sony needs to completely restructure their direction and realize that Marvel has comics and that they should just back away and let it happen.
See, now I would be excited for instance, let's stick on, you brought up a great example of She-Hulk, right? I don't think anytime soon we're going to see a She-Hulk movie from Marvel Studios.
Nope.
So as a fan, I would really love it if Universal Studios and Marvel had a meeting and say, hey, look, you got no plans for She-Hulk. Give us a perpetual license. If we don't shoot a film every 3 years, then the same deals they've had with many of their other characters. I, as a fan, would love it. I just don't think Marvel's going to back themselves in the corner again.
Well, look, with She-Hulk, they're still hesitant to give Hulk his own movie.
Yeah.
Because Hulk hasn't have his own movie. He's been in the Avengers, and he's going to be a big force. But
he's had two of his own movies.
He's had his own movies.
Not since the MCU really exploded. He had that one movie with Ed Norton that did,
which is part of the canon.
It is part of the
And
MCU.
Airbender.
But since it was like the second movie out of the MCU, and it was still coming off of that stink of the Ang Lee. I think that they put a standalone Hulk movie out now, it would, pun intended, crush, because I don't think that I think that they're hesitant because of that, because the Ed Norton one did okay. It did okay, and the Ang Lee one stunk.
Flopped.
So if you put out a
You
Hulk
didn't like the
movie-
Hulk dogs? What? Really?
No, I'm the
I
electric
forgot
man.
about
I'm
those.
gonna
I'm
be
glad I had.
So I would like to see a Hulk standalone first, and maybe he pops up in Spider-Man.
Is Sony the one to do it though?
No.
There it is.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to any other studio. That's a big question. All right, what's next?
Mark Smith writes, hey guys, love the show. Quick question. Do you guys consider yourself YouTubers, since at least some of your income comes from YouTube? If not, why so? Thanks in love and phase 3.
It really all depends. It's an interesting question because it really all depends on what your definition of a YouTuber is. Now, if you are defining a YouTuber as just somebody who puts videos on YouTube, then we are YouTubers, absolutely. Now, some other people have this. There's certain connotations with what a YouTuber is. Like some people think it's just people who do it professionally. That's what a YouTuber is. Some people think it's any 14-year-old dude in his mom's basement who goes, "I learned how to make a new fart," and they're YouTubers, right? So, I mean, it really all depends. So, by some definitions, we're YouTubers. What I personally see us as is just content creators. We're content creators, and our platform of choice is YouTube, because YouTube is just a great platform for us, and we put it out on other platforms as well. But going to that one thing in your question, but asking about saying that some of your income comes from YouTube. No, it doesn't. What people don't understand is like AMC, and this is one of the things I love about AMC theaters. Okay, this is the coolest part of AMC theaters in this whole mix, is that AMC Movie News, we do not make any money. We don't make money. We have some ads and some videos, but that's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the money it actually costs to put on AMC Movie News. So why does AMC do AMC Movie News? Why do they give us the finances and the assistance to have our own headquarters and to put on these shows? Because AMC just wants to give back to the film fan community. They understand film fans are out there. They want to have daily content talking about movies and their favorite types of stuff. Let's provide it to them. And that's one of the best things about AMC and why I love working with this company so much. So are we YouTubers? Depends on your definition. Do we make a lot of money on YouTube? No, we do not. That doesn't mean we won't in the future or whatever, but for now, we really don't.
Well, even speaking out, we've got Schmoes Know, and I do Geek Bum as well, and we do videos all the time. And it's like, if we're YouTubers, then technically we're also merchandisers, because we both sell T-shirts on our sites as well, and that kind of seems to make some money, not much. I don't think I would define myself as a YouTuber, because when you get to write your own little bio on Twitter, there's a lot more that would come instead of that.
Let's see, hold on. Yeah, I'm a YouTuber.
Subscribe.
Yeah, no, well, for me, look, I have to say that I would consider myself a YouTuber, yeah, because, and I wouldn't consider, I am, because had it not been for YouTube and what Mark and myself did with Schmoes, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. You found us from YouTube. You found, we have, and our community and the people and the fans are based on YouTube. So I have always felt like that's like, we do things a lot of other places and have things on a lot of other venues. But for me, it's the community of YouTube that helped build my career in this space. So I do consider myself a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is such a great platform with a great community and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just really happy we get to be in it. Yeah. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show where we like to take some of your Twitter questions as well. If you've got a question, you want to see your Twitter question on our show, just do this. Get on Twitter and tweet a question to us using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. Once again, that's the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. We'll pull a couple of tweets out every day. So, Ashley, what do we got in there today?
Nick Epperson writes, how soon could we get another Punisher movie? The last 3 sucked.
I take issue with that. I actually liked Punisher Warzone. I thought Punisher Warzone was pretty cool. And what's the girl's name who directed it?
Alexi Alexander.
I thought she did a really fun, hyper violent, like crazy violent. I thought that Punisher movie, while not perfect, I thought it kind of embodied everything a Punisher movie should be. I got a real kick out of it. Now, I know a lot of other people didn't like it, and that's totally cool. As far as I know, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, Punisher is now back under the Marvel umbrella. Yep. The lease license on it lapsed, so they're back. But I have heard no plans. And, we've kind of talked about this before. Understanding this cinematic universe, and right now Marvel is all about everything is inside their cinematic universe. Punisher's a tough one to fit into that because he is such a hard R-rated guy. So I don't know of any plans. Have you heard anything different?
Yeah, I think he's coming because if you, the Russo brothers teased it on their, I think it's the commentary for Winter Soldier, like when that van saves Cap. They kind of tease it. And
there was Castle in it?
That's what
I thought that was just a joke.
Maybe so.
Maybe it's a foreshadowing.
I also really enjoyed the short film that was going around on YouTube, by the way.
Laundry Day,
which was amazing. Same guys who produced that Power Rangers short. But
and it was the guy who did play Punisher in a previous thing.
Yeah, Thomas Jane. Yeah. But I think he will fit in because I think what allows them to fit him in now is if they fit him in through maybe the Netflix model. Maybe they could do a series there to where they could fit in. And I'd love to see him back. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. And I would like to see you talk about somebody who's had a lot of interaction with Spider-Man.
Yeah, Punisher.
So there you go.
Well, I think the smart thing that Marvel's done is not what DC's done, which is just lay out all of their movies for the next sort of 7 years. When things do have like ebb and flows and Punisher keeps getting mentioned, they're like, well, let's look at our schedule that's ours, that no one knows, and let's kind of fit it in and announce it when we do know. So is there a chance that it could happen? Yes. I love the idea about it being a Netflix series, and I feel that a lot of these shows that are straight to Netflix are really doing well, and I think that the character Punisher would be more suited to a long-winded story where they have seasons instead of being over in 2 hours.
And you could make it like a Boardwalk Empire type show too. Like you could really make it a graphic, but with smart, crime-driven, because I think that's been the Punisher's problem in the movies is that it's been so confined.
Yes.
You can elaborate more of what happened to him, why he is the way he is. And then if it works, like I would like to see, because it's more cinematic on Netflix than it is on like network television, obviously. Like if you put Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Netflix, you probably have a very different and possibly better show. And I know a lot of people still are saying it's better, but I'm just saying as far as network, what you can do.
Gotham's a great example as well. This one could really go head to head with Gotham, being that sort of noir feel in a way, but crime
could do more, and they'd be able to do more. Not as much handles. Thank you.
All right, what's next?
Justin Peterson writes, would you like to see The Last Airbender get a second chance?
Oddly enough, yeah, I would like to see it get a second chance. Not with the Sham Hammer. It would have to be a complete reboot. I totally bought in to Shamhammer's Airbender when the trailers were out. I was like, this is his return to greatness. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be great. And
Oh, that was bad, wasn't it?
so bad, so legendarily awful. I mean, legendarily awful. But the core mythology, you could do something really cool with it. Here's the thing, it ain't gonna happen for a while though, because I think any studio that would be interested in it would want the stink of it, the last one, to really wear off.
It's been like 5 years, right?
Yeah, but I think it's possible. I really do. Do you want to see it?
Well, this is a little confession that not many people may know. In Australia, I hosted Nickelodeon for 3.5 years, and The Last Airbender was the series on Nickelodeon.
Right.
And I became obsessed with this series. Like, it was my favorite. It was better than SpongeBob, I said it. So when I watched the movie, I couldn't even finish it. And that says something, because I was so ready for it and I couldn't even make it to the end because it was butchered. We're actually moved on to the next series, The Legend of Korra, and I think a fusion between the two where Aang and Korra could get together. But you're right, the one thing that they nailed with this series is the lore, the legend, what it stands for, to be able to manipulate all the elements. And there is so much there that to kind of put it to bed, it would be such a shame.
Well, it's funny because Dave Filoni, who's involved in both Rebels and Clone Wars, was a big part of Last Airbender for a long time. And you could tell because of the way what they did with the elements, and it was destroyed. And the guy who cut the trailer for Last Airbender should literally cut the trailer for everything
Because he made it look
I got duped also.
Polished A-turd.
And when I saw the movie, I was like, "What is this trash?" But I do think, because one of the comments I saw the most when I reviewed it was, doesn't do justice. It doesn't do justice. This needs to be redone. I think the fans would support it but to wash that stink off, John, I think that you need to go and get the best talent, and not only in acting, but writing, directing. Like, you need to get a megastar director, whether it be a Spielberg or somebody huge, to where they pull you in. Whether, or if it's not that you're going to get Nolan, but if you got somebody of that nature, that's going to get you excited right away.
Hey, before we get to the next Twitter question, just going to let you know, when Bob Iger got in that meeting and made the announcement at Star Wars, apparently he was not done. Another announcement has just dropped. Just going back to something we were talking about earlier, they have officially now announced Frozen 2. So Frozen 2 is now officially in development. Bob Iger said the following. He says, "We enjoyed making Frozen Fever so much and being back in that world with those characters," said John Lasseter. Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck have come up with a great idea for the sequel, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it. And we'll be taking you back to that world. We're so excited about it. Yeah, because until Frozen Fever came out, you weren't sure you were going to do a Frozen 2. Right. So there you go. It's official. Frozen 2 is officially coming. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. All right. What's next in the Twitter world?
Brett Merritt writes, whatever happened to that Lock and Key movie that was being made?
Great question, because what was it? It was supposed to be Bruce Wilson, Jamie Foxx?
I don't know. I don't remember it.
Or am I thinking of a different movie? But I remember, I think it's the Bruce Willis and Jamie Foxx one. I could be totally talking about the wrong movie, in which case everything I'm about to say is completely irrelevant. But I was looking forward to that, if that's the right one that we're talking about. No, I'm not. That's not Lock and Key. I'm thinking about that video game movie with the two dudes. That's what Bruce Willis and Jamie Foxx are going to do. Lock and Key, I think, is that horror graphic novel one.
It was a trilogy, apparently, at the time when it was announced in May of last year. It said it's supposed to be written by Kurtzman and Orsi.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. And it's the one with the house. And, the horror graphic novel.
So
that's
it was a comic book series.
See, I told you I was probably wrong about that one. But then again, where is that Bruce Willis, Jamie Foxx one? That one just kind of evaporated too. I've heard nothing about the development of Lock and Key. I remember we talked about it on AMC Movie Talk when that news came out, and very intrigued, but I've heard nothing since. So that doesn't mean it's done. It just means right now I got no. Have you guys heard anything else about it?
Kurtzman and Orsi even doing anything together?
They are, as of right now, they are creatively taking a break.
Yeah, so maybe they're
not working together right now.
So maybe that's on hold until, because I don't know how long what their contract was as far as how long they're allowed to hold on to it. Who knows?
All right, what's next?
Yones DHM writes, we're probably going to see a teaser of Suicide Squad and some B versus S footage on Comic-Con 15. Is this why Marvel is skipping it this year?
Yeah, because Marvel's afraid of a trailer. No.
Marvel just going to do their own D23 and just take away from Comic-Con and actually start their own con, so much so that those two are going to rival each other and almost cancel each other out?
Yeah, no. Marvel is not skipping Comic-Con because they're afraid that DC's bringing a Suicide Squad trailer. No, I'm as excited as anybody about Suicide Squad, and well, you all know how excited I am about Batman versus Superman. No, Marvel is skipping this because they just did their own Hall H without having to go to Comic-Con to do it. Remember, they did that big Marvel announcement they did in Hollywood, had all the fans and all the press come, and they didn't need to go to Comic-Con to do it and share the spotlight with anybody else. They've got their own D23, they got their own Star Wars celebrations. Marvel has been cultivating themselves to really not need Comic-Con. And I think as a fan, that kind of sucks, but I totally get where they're coming from. What this presents, though, for DC, because I made the argument that despite the fact that the other year Marvel made a lot of great announcements and had great panels, I made the argument that Warner Brothers and DC won that Comic-Con with one announcement. Batman versus Superman. That's it. That one punch, fight's over. They won Comic-Con. Marvel still got a lot out of that and did some great things at it and benefited from it. But this positions, with Marvel's absence, this positions Warner Brothers to really take advantage of Comic-Con. I think Warner Brothers and DC need to put their foot to the floor on this. I think now they need to just go berserk, go full out, make Comic-Con DC-Con. I mean, really take it over that much. Now that Marvel's not even going to be there, take advantage of this. I think that would be the smart thing to do.
Well, the good thing with Marvel is that they're not spending the same time frame competing with each other directly and having that who did it better, Marvel or DC. And they are just going, you know what, DC, you can have that because we've got our own thing. So they're kind of raising up and gaining strength separately, which I think is great because the comparisons are getting worn thin. And I think Marvel was almost like, we're actually too good for having that little debate and being pinned against each other. So they're both flourishing. And you're right, I completely agree. If WB and DC do not absolutely own Comic-Con, that is probably the dumbest thing that they will ever do if they don't take advantage of that.
Whatever plans they have for Comic-Con right now, they should triple it.
Double
it, triple it. Yeah.
They both didn't do it last year. It was one of the most disappointing Hall H's in Comic-Con history last year. Well, that makes sense. I understood why they waited for Star Wars, and I think because you're going to get celebrations when you nail the big trailer. D23 is absolutely when you get a majority of the Marvel stuff because Civil War and all those things, as time goes closer to it, there's going to be more to show. But you also remember, D23 is every 2 years. So what would be interesting if D23, they did a big event, and then the next year they do another one of those Marvel events, and then they keep switching it off. And as far as Star Wars, you're going to get that spin-off trailer, maybe close to D23. I think Star Wars is going to be the majority of the presence for Disney at Comic-Con. But I agree, DC needs to do some big stuff because if they don't, where are they going to show their stuff?
Mind you, last year they released the image of Wonder Woman in her outfit, and that just fired up an entire day. So it owned just by one image. So I thought that was clever.
But this is an opportunity, a great opportunity for them. All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode or any show on the AMC Movie News Network, just look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share our video on your Twitter and your Facebook. I want to thank, first of all, the people sitting at the table with me. Sitting to my left, Miss Maud Garrett. Maud, where can people find you online?
You can get me at Maud Garrett on pretty much every social media, and check out Geek Bomb while you're at it.
Over here on my right, of course, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
Well, everywhere. At Christian Harloff, Twitter, Instagram. And remember, Jedi Council today. And it's not just for the hardcore Star Wars fans. It was for the casual fans as well. And if you want to learn how to get into certain things, you feel overwhelmed, this is the show to help you out. So check it out today, Jedi Council.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Thursday, guys.
And you can find me on all the various social media networks just at John Campia. So that'll do it for us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, wait for it. Bye-bye.